I don't eat those things, but I don't count calories. And I also don't know where I'm going actually with this. I went a little bit off topic. So the second thing, when it's about deception, and if you start a relationship based upon deception, any kind of deception of any kind of relationship, maybe you're a woman or a guy that you're interested in, a business relationship or whatever, you already start with a broken thing. How do you say this? You build a house on the fundaments. I don't know. I don't remember I cannot come up with the word now. The basis. Let's call it a basis, full with cracks. There is not even a basis when you start with deception. There is another, let's say, a case in my life. I always pull out a lot of inspiration from the events that are happening, people that enter my life. I pull out a lot of knowledge from it. I'm also looking, I'm really studying people also when it's body language and the way they say it, tonality and all that kind of stuff. But okay, there's another case. This guy, he actually would just want to have my phone number, a guy, just to in contact. You never know. I'm always open to listen to people who put in some work and somewhat, and also show a little bit initiative, and also don't look very weird at me, because that is another thing. But let's talk first about this guy. This guy actually asked me for my phone number, but he said, because I'm soon gonna leave, within 2 weeks I'm gonna leave this job, but was also not true. But like I also always say, I'm not emotional attached to something or somebody. But there's another thing. It always comes along with another negative. I think it's a negative thing, because he always uses negative wordings, and then with a funny tone around it. And if I would really ask him, I asked him, why do you say those things? Because, okay, says, and he used the word bitch, but then he said it with a funny tone and blah blah blah. But what I believe in, no matter how you say it, a negative word is negativity. And no matter how you put it in a funny jacket, a nice hat on it, and a mask, like a funny movement, but it's still a negative word. And I'm really, I won't say against it, but it gets along with the thing of deception, what he actually did, because he worked way much longer over there. And again, if you're watching this, anybody who's watching my vlogs and they know that I'm talking about them, they know it's true, even if they want to deny it. Still, I don't put you in a bad position, because I don't like that. But there are lessons to be learned from this, right? There's another guy that I know for a long time. I knew him for a long time. But there's also something about knowing, right? If people have multiple moments of deception in your so-called relationship, do you know the guy or the girl? And some people do it over, they spread out the deceptions or the lies or denials over a longer amount of time. This guy, he did over a longer amount of time, and I can really step it out from the beginning. It always took 1.5 years in between, something that pops out. And I also know people, they do multiple times per day. So some people also, I don't know, it's about the frequency. Maybe that also has to do a little bit, had the more intelligent ones, they take a little bit more their time, and I think can get away with this, and again and again. But see, now at 46, I'm now 46, even the slightest misstep, so already on the other side of the balance, the negative one. And if you go to the second one, you know, then especially with new people, there is no possibility for any kind of project to get in or to build a relationship, you know. With some people, I could say, you know, they have potential, but they're not arrived at a point that they really face reality, that they're ready for this. But also, you know what I'm saying, hey, you can get to the bank, you take a loan, you start a business, you sell, and you're not improving anything. Yeah, that's just buying your own job, you know, self-employed. So had those people not in the risk, but we develop things in general that needs a lot of flexibility. And not only this, comes also with a lot of adversity, especially when it fails. You know, I failed a lot in my life. And again, when it's about the level of freedom that I'm living now, I do everything from the phone. So let's say I'm pretty successful with this now, but at the moment I'm upscaling. The last time, I lost 3 times everything in my life. So the last time was 41 and now I'm 46. I took my time to build a fundament like this. Now I'm in the upscale phase, and once I'm through this phase, then I'm pretty, you know, good before I'm 50. So that's my timeline. And then I also really don't have to do a lot of things anymore. And if you really look at my working hours, yeah, I put in the work, but it's not like I'm going into the coal mines and on the ground to work over there for 12 hours. And I'm walking around talking with the people, but in the meantime, you know, when I sit also in the buses, the tram, the subway, you know, I work on my phone. And it's for me, it's an ongoing thing, but I wouldn't label it as, you know, that I'm hard working, you know. But I also don't have a master who says from 9 to 5 you have to be over here, or can I get on a holiday for the next 2 weeks so I can escape you, make a couple of pictures in a nice resort of a pizza that I eat anyways every week, or maybe every day in the canteen over here, you know, because I get a discount from my boss, my master. I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way. And then, oh yeah, that's another thing, eh? If you watch my vlogs and you feel a little bit stepped on your toes and see it as something negative because you're pretty weak, and then these vlogs are not for you. But for the people who want to change, yeah, you have to face reality. And again, it's not about only facing the reality, but also, again, when people also say I'm training a lot. See, let's talk a little bit about the training part. There are a lot of people that I see training also. They doing exercises that I think, yeah, what are you training over there? So I talked a lot, maybe 2 vlogs ago, about a guy who was doing crunches, and it was like he's just moving his neck a little bit and that's it. See, that is all great when you move a little bit, but there's also another level to it, right? If you spend, let's say, 30 minutes a day moving your neck with the hope that you get some abs and still have a beer belly hanging while you're not even drinking beer, then you're doing something wrong, right? And that's, again, are you facing reality, or you just try to deceive yourself? Because you can tell the people around you, yeah, I'm training now every day. But in the meantime, that's another thing. When you sit with your so-called friends, and then they're not asking you, know, what are you actually doing? How do you do it? What's the frequency? You know, you're not sitting with real people. That's another thing, eh? Sometimes, every person that meets me, also new people, I'm very straightforward. I'm not wasting your time. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not. I also know how to say things in a very subtle way. It also depends what kind of character you are. And, you know, this is another thing. I'm meeting so many people. I'm doing this very naturally, and I'm not saying that I can hang around with everybody like a chameleon. No, not at all. Like I said, I cannot hang around with people who you know, that are very weak, because they would anyway wouldn't feel comfortable. I also cannot hang around with people who have extreme political ideas. You know, they have the vision about wars and all that kind of stuff, but in the meantime they're just eating Cheetos and watching Netflix. You know, I always admire, I can say admire and respect people who do things regardless what the world thinks about them, also regardless what I think. I know people, I have to think about my words about this one.